6 games in 4 days, all of the state of California as it begins on Thursday for Sooner softball. Who is ready? Let's preview the weekend for OU, discuss the biggest storylines going into the opening weekend, as well as some bold predictions I have as to who's going to shine the most this week, and of course, what you care about the most. What's OU's record going to be after the first 6 games this week? Let's get to it. First, let's go down the opening schedule with start times, TV designation, and a short rundown on each opponent as well. I'm also going to rank 1 through 6 each opponent that OU is going to face this week in terms of difficulty, because they're going to face a couple of good teams, including 2 who are picked to win their conference this year. But quickly, please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for a lot of OU softball content. That's what I do here. And don't forget to turn on those notifications as well, so you'll be able to get all the videos I have this week and beyond talking Sooner softball. Let's start with game 1 of a doubleheader on Thursday, 5:30 first pitch against Cal State Northridge in San Diego. This game will not be on TV, unfortunately, but OU softball says that you can find this game on Soonersports.com/watch. CSUN is picked to finish 7th in the Big West after finishing 25-26 last season. Not super high expectations for Cal State Northridge this year. Frankly, I think that this is the most gettable opponent the Sooners are going to play this week. I rank Cal State Northridge at number 6 in opponents that OU will face this week. Then the Sooners will turn around and play a very good San Diego State team at 8 o'clock on the Aztecs home field. This game will be televised on the Mountain West Network. San Diego State picked to win the Mountain West this year, a projected 3 seed in the NCAA tournament by Softball America. Some of you will recognize the name Stacy Newman, a great player in her day playing softball, and she's the head coach at San Diego State, which is pretty cool. 31-20 last season, made it to the UCLA Regional, and a player to know for San Diego State is CC Salura, who was voted Mountain West preseason pitcher of the year. And I would be very surprised if the Sooners don't see CC in the circle on Thursday night. I think San Diego State is going to be the best team that the Sooners will face this weekend. The Sooners will play another doubleheader on Friday in Fullerton, California at 3 o'clock against Cal Baptist. This game will also be on Soonersports.com/watch. Cal Baptist is picked to finish 2nd in the WAC this year, finished 2nd in the conference last year after a 33-25 overall record. This will be an interesting turnaround game after a doubleheader the day before to open the season and some travel up the coast a couple of hours. But I think OU should handle this game. I have Cal Baptist as the 4th toughest game of the weekend for the Sooners. OU will then turn around and play Cal State Fullerton on their home field for an 8 p.m. first pitch on Friday night. The game will be televised on ESPN+, so good news there. Fullerton picked to finish 2nd in the Big West and had a great season in 2024. The deepest run of any team that OU will face this weekend. 39-19 last year and lost in the Stanford Regional. Made a run in Palo Alto and was one win away from a Super Regional. Lost to Stanford in the final game. Solid team, very solid team. And I think that Cal State Fullerton will be the 3rd best team that the Sooners will face this week. Saturday will be a single game in Los Angeles against Loyola Marymount at 5 o'clock. Another game on ESPN+, so very, very thankful for that. Loyola picked to finish 2nd in the West Coast Conference this year after a 28-25 season last year. LMU has 3 position players that were voted as all-conference selections before the year. They've got a few really good hitters. I think Loyola Marymount, though, going to be a tough test against Oklahoma. I think Loyola is the 5th best team the Sooners will face this weekend. The final game of the weekend will be a homecoming trip for Patty Gasso, which is really cool. She returns to her alma mater as the Sooners take on Long Beach State on their home field. Interested to see if something cool is done for Patty before the 1 p.m. first pitch. Don't know if that's the case. Would be really cool, though. Interesting spot, though, for Oklahoma in this game because it's the last game of a long 4 days of softball. 11 a.m. local start time on the West Coast on a Sunday. So it's one where you've got to create your own energy. You've got to show up to the ballpark ready to go at 11 a.m. on Sunday morning. But the Sooners are also going to see a very good team on Sunday as well. Long Beach State picked to win the Big West, 16 returners from last year. Their strength seems to be in the circle. This game will be on ESPN+, so a very fun, very interesting Sunday afternoon game for us to enjoy. But I've really got my eye on this one. I really do. Interesting spot, like I said, and I want to see how this team comes out of the gate after a long weekend. I've got this one as the second toughest game of the weekend for the Sooners. So there's a quick rundown of each game. How about some predictions? I'm going to do some game-by-game predictions, how I see each of these games going, starting with game 1 all the way to the 6th game of the season. And let's start with Cal State Northridge. I think OU comes out strong out of the gate. I think that there's a lot of excitement to get this season started, a lot to prove people that we are the best in college softball once again. You can't prove that in a game against Cal State Northridge, but I think there's a lot of energy to start this season. OU comes out of the gate strong and wins game 1 easily. I've got OU 12-0 over Cal State Northridge to start the season 1-0. Game 2 is going to be a lot more interesting. And hey, if the Sooners dominate this game, I'm going to be really impressed. An early season game against a good team with a good pitcher on their home field. Again, I think that this is going to be the toughest game that OU has all weekend long just because San Diego State's a really good softball team. Give me OU over San Diego State 5-1 in game 2 of that doubleheader on Thursday. San Diego State, not the best team that you're going to see OU take on this non-conference schedule, but they're a very good team, and I think you're likely going to see the Aztecs in the postseason as well. I'll be very impressed if OU just rolls San Diego State in game 2 on Thursday. I've got the Sooners winning 5-1 to move to 2-0. Game 1 on Friday, give me a big win over Cal Baptist in Fullerton. I'll take an 11-1 win with just an offensive barrage to open the day up. I think you're going to see a lot of offense in that first game against Cal Baptist. I think the Sooners are then going to turn around and win 10-2 over a very solid Cal State Fullerton team on a Friday night. I think we're talking about 2 wins on Thursday, 2 wins on Friday, and a 4-0 start to the 2025 season. The 4-0 Sooners will then take on Loyola Marymount on Saturday. Going to be a lot of OU fans in LA. A lot of OU fans throughout the course of the weekend. And all the OU fans that will be in attendance in LA on Saturday, they're going to get a treat. OU scores early, OU scores often, and they take care of Loyola Marymount in LA. Sooners are going to win this one on Saturday. Their lone game on Saturday, they'll win it 11-0. And then the finale. 5-0 OU takes on Long Beach State on Sunday afternoon. You just heard me say I think it's a very interesting spot. And again, I'm going to be impressed, given the spot and opponent, if OU just absolutely rolls this team. I think OU wins a really fun finale on Sunday. Give me the Sooners to win that game against Long Beach State. 6-2 to close out a very successful 6-0 weekend. Get on the plane, get back to Oklahoma as a 6-0 softball team. How about the MVP this week? I'm going to do an MVP of the week prediction every single week, and I invite you to join by putting your pick in the comments. This week's MVP prediction is Cassidy Pickering. I think she has a monster start to the season. 3 home runs. Prediction, 3 home runs coming up for Cassidy Pickering this week. A lot of hits, a lot of RBIs. No sophomore slump here for Cassidy Pickering. Give me Cassidy Pickering to have the best week of any other OU softball player. There's going to be a lot who have great weekends. Give me Cassidy Pickering to have the best. She's going to start an All-American season with a huge week on the West Coast. Finally, my 3 biggest storylines of the week, and if you watched my live show on Monday night, you know I had an original order and switched it up a little bit. So the number one storyline for me this week, it's the pitching. It was the biggest question mark the morning after OU won the national championship last season, and it's the biggest storyline on the eve of opening day. But I feel a lot better about OU's pitching today than I did before the fall season started. I saw very good things throughout the fall season, and I'm hearing really good, very positive things, not just about one pitcher in particular, but multiple pitchers for this team. And hey, I get it. It's all talk. It's all praise. They've got to prove it. And that starts this week. I feel optimistic, though, that with the multiple arms that OU will have this year, I think they're going to turn from a question mark into a group that we have a lot of confidence in. You're going to see every pitcher on the roster this week outside of Sophia Bordy, and I can't wait to see all of those arms perform during a 6-game stretch in 4 days. How OU fares this weekend on the West Coast, I think, is largely going to depend on how the pitching staff performs throughout the week. The second biggest storyline for me is the ongoing position battles. I want to see who starts out hot in those battles in the outfield and at shortstop as well. Hannah Kaur, Maya Bland, Tia Malloy, they are all in the mix for that final outfield spot that is still currently open. All three will play. I think all three will start, and I think any of the three could eventually take that position over and really run with it. And hey, it's about being good defensively, yes, but who performs the best at the plate, who's the most consistent, is going to go a long way in deciding this battle. Patty is hesitant to name a leader at that spot, and you can understand why when you think of all the multiple options, multiple high-level options OU currently has in the outfield. And then there's the battle at shortstop, which is still currently ongoing. Will it be Gabby Garcia? Will it be Sydney Barker? Or will it even be someone that's not Gabby Garcia or Sydney Barker? Mistakes are going to happen at a position as high profile at shortstop. It's just the way that it is. It's just the way that the game is as well. So these young players, they're going to make mistakes, and they maybe even make mistakes this week, but they're also extremely talented too, and you're going to see that as well. You're going to see both Garcia and Barker at shortstop this weekend. Both will start games, and I don't expect the battle to necessarily end this week, but it will give us an indication on where both players are currently at. There's not a bad option here. That's the great news. Both very young, but extremely talented. Whoever takes over this spot could very well be a 4-year starter at a premier position. Finally, at number 3 is the chaos. I want to see the offensive chaos. Patty's told us about it. Abby Dayton has told us about it. Hannah Kaur has told us about it. Everyone with OU softball has seemingly told us that this is going to be a scrappy offense that's also extremely athletic. That gets me excited. I want to see it. How many bunts for base hits do we see? How many stolen bases do we see this week? How much does the chaos affect opposing defenses this week? Maybe I'm a nerd. Probably am, if we're being honest here. But that gets me excited just thinking about it. There will be home runs. Yes, there will be home runs. But there's also going to be a different look offensively this season for the Sooners. It is not a bad thing. In fact, I think it's going to be a very good thing and a very exciting thing for all the OU softball fans out there. The chaos, I want to see it. That's my third biggest storyline coming up this week. What's your biggest storyline for the week and the weekend? And what record will the Sooners have when they leave California? As always, drop your thoughts in the comments, and thank you for watching.